Welcome back to another Scottsland place to visit. Today, I'd like to take you on a journey through time to explore this fascinating history of a small but historically rich village in Fife, Limekilns. Nestled on the northern shore of the Firth of Forth, just 3 miles southwest of Dunfermline and about 13 miles northwest of Edinburgh, Limekilns is a village dating back to around the 13th-14th century. Limekilns has been witness to centuries of history, industry, and even royal connections, and it has ties to one of the world's greatest philanthropists. It's proudly located along the Fife Coastal Path, a popular walking route that stretches over 117 miles from Kincardine to Newborough. Let's begin with the origins of Limekilns as we walk around the area and explore its past. The village's name itself tells us a lot about its historical importance. Limekilns derives from the lime kilns that once operated here. Actually, the Limekilns were a neighbouring village of Charleston. In its early days, Limekilns was mainly a fishing village, with the large natural harbour sheltered by the rocky ridge known as the Ghats, providing docking facilities for small to medium transport and cargo ships. From here, ships traded with the ports in the Baltic Sea and France until the 17th century, when the Union of the Crowns saw the royal interests move south to London. In the early 14th century, there was a port for the town of Dunfermline called Gallett's or Gallett's Port at the site of the current settlement of Limekilns. This served as the principal port for the town, which lies a few miles inland. These kilns at Charleston were used to produce quicklime by burning limestone, a vital material in construction and agriculture. Lime from Charleston was shipped across the Forth and beyond from Limekilns, making the village a bustling industrial hub in its time. For many centuries, Limekilns was also the northern terminus for a ferry linking it to Bo'ness on the southern side of the Forth. This found an echo in Robert Louis Stevenson's Kidnap, and it was from Limekilns that David Balfour and Alan Breck were carried across the Forth in a rowing boat. Now let's turn to one of its most compelling parts of Limekilns' past, its connections to King Robert the Bruce. Limekilns sits within the lands which traditionally belonged to the Earl of Elgin of Broomhall House, which overlooks the village. The Earl of Elgin is a title in the peerage of Scotland, created in the around 1600s for Thomas Bruce, 3rd Lord Kinloss. The Earl of Elgin is the hereditary clan chief of Clan Bruce, a family descended from the Bruces of Clackmannan, and now live in Broomhall House. It is the home of the Earl of Elgin and Kincardine. In 1702, Alexander Bruce, later 4th Earl of Kincardine, built a new home here on land which the family had previously purchased in around 1580s. In 1760, Charles V, Earl of Elgin and 9th Earl of Kincardine, decided he wanted to extend his home and employed John Adam as the architect. The most famous Earl was actually the 7th Earl, who removed and transported to Britain the so-called Elgin marbles. Records date from the 16th century, when it was a busy and, some say, smelly port with lots of trade going on and many sailing ships bringing wood, wine, glassware to the area from the Baltic and France to depart it with lime, salt and coal. Lime production moved to Charlestown in 1750. In later times, it was to become a stopping place for the steam ferries which plied both banks of the Forth when there was no bridges. During the 14th century, Bruce's power base was established in Dunfermline, and Limekilns was the nearest harbour to the royal residence, so it is believed that Bruce used the port of Limekilns for trade, military transport and supplies. This made the village strategically important. There are 2 harbours, Brucehaven in the east and Limekilns towards the west, both built in the 18th century. Brucehaven was built by Forbes of Pittencrieff in 1728, mainly for the export of coal. Above it stands a Harold and crow-stepped building currently used by the Forth Cruising Club, who moor their boats in the harbour below. Limekilns Pier, in its current form, was built at the same time as the promenade was in 1931, and is made of large blocks of stone. It replaced several earlier piers, including one from 1362. The harbour is protected by a ridge of rocks called the Ghats, through which a channel was made for the entry of ships. The ship of this pier is now crumbling away to such an extent that a fund has been set up to restore it. And you can actually purchase slabs with engravings to suit you to be laid in what is known as the Beacon Way. Your purchase covers the cost of the slab and engraving, with a donation to the fund as well. As mentioned, there is now a beacon on the pier which is lit to mark important events. Another incredible fact about this place is that it's believed to be the last place in Fife that Andrew Carnegie left on a ship to Bo'ness, where he would take the train and out of Scotland and across to America to make his fortune. Today, Limekilns is a quiet, residential village, but it still welcomes thousands of visitors each year, especially walkers, hikers and history lovers walking the Fife Coastal Path. The long-distance route winds its way through some of Scotland's most scenic coastal villages, and Limekilns is one of the highlights. Limekilns and its neighbouring village Charleston retain their 18th century layout thanks to the planning of Charles Bruce, the 5th Earl of Elgin, another echo of the village's aristocratic connections. The King and Queen visited Limekilns in 1923 and a guard of honour was made up of the Girl Guides. One famous person that was born in Limekilns was George Thomson, and he was a publisher of Scottish folk songs. And he was born here in 1757 and he died in Leith in 1851. He set songs to classical music tunes and they were not well received in some quarters. I would actually advise you look up his life, and he had strong connections with Robert Burns. But one of his claims to fame is that his granddaughter married Charles Dickens, and that didn't go so well either for her or her 10 children. Here comes the in conclusion part. So, in conclusion, Limekilns may be small, but it sits on the crossroads with a dash of royal history, industrial might and global philanthropy. So, if you're walking the Fife Coastal Path and pass through Limekilns, take a moment to think and look beyond the peaceful seascape. You'll be walking through centuries of stories, kings, workers, ships and visionaries, all woven into the fabric of this unique Scottish village. As always, thanks for watching and supporting. Take care. Bye bye.